Good morning. I'm Eric Tobias. I'm the founder and president of iGo Digital. We're based here in Indianapolis. And I'm going to spend my time this morning focusing on the role of personalization in the e-commerce environment today and how that overlaps and impacts social media. By way of background, prior to founding iGo Digital, I was a retailer, had a business here in town called batteries.com. So I kind of sit in between these two guys from an experience set. I've been both charged and tasked with the direct-to-consumer business as well now dealing on the other side of the table with providing back-end solutions to retailers. So hopefully I can provide a little perspective on some of the challenges and opportunities that brings. So by way of background, iGo Digital is in the business of providing personalization and product recommendation solutions to e-commerce retailers. Our customers tend to be folks that are tasked and challenged with putting the most relevant products and services in front of their customers at the right time. This idea really came to fruition through my experience with batteries.com. We spent a lot of time manually merchandising our website, making sure that we were presenting the right products to the right consumer, trying to leverage all of the analytic data that we were collecting. And it was just a big challenge and a big task and very manually intensive. And we really wanted to try to create a better mousetrap. If you think about some of the materials that have been shared already this morning, this idea of social as it impacts e-commerce is really trying to humanize the experience of shopping online. And that's really what we try to do at iGo Digital. A lot of the great capabilities that e-commerce affords us, the ability to shop in our pajamas at 11 o'clock at night, while that's beneficial, it also has dehumanized the experience of walking into a store and having a very educated sales associate be able to help guide us and kind of walk us through the process of what we might want to purchase and discover. And so the role that iGo Digital plays and the role that we encourage retailers to really think about is how to bring these experiences together in a more interactive way. We wanted to show this because it's one of the things we're the most proud of at iGo Digital. We work with all kinds of different types of customers, but we work with 6 of the top 10 leading e-commerce sites on the web, as well as dozens of niche retailers. Everybody from Best Buy and Walmart and Amazon to again, dozens of kind of niche players. And our experience here is really important because what we see is in the landscape of figuring out how to personalize the experience and how to use social media, the biggest brands tend to be the most experimental, but not necessarily the ones that are doing things to drive revenue and drive impact. That they're pushing the envelope of trying things, and we're trying to help them figure out how to monetize those experiments. A little bit about our platform, just to give some context of how we talk about personalization. The way that our software platform works is we analyze and observe every click a consumer makes on a website, and we create a profile based on that click behavior. So when I come to a site and start clicking around categories and looking at products, our engine is observing that behavior. Last month we captured over 1 billion clicks, so all kinds of data coming into our system, and then we're making sense out of that click behavior. One of the key things here is when we started e-commerce 10 years ago, there was a lot of manual work to analyze what was happening and what people were clicking into, what people were looking at, and then changing the website based on those observations. Today, our software platform moves a lot of that manual work to an automated basis. So retailers are now able to more automatically merchandise their site. They're able to put the right product in front of the right customer at the right time. And that's had a huge impact on e-commerce and retail in general. It's really important for us to be able to offer these solutions in a multi-channel way. One of the things that I'm going to speak to in a moment is just the impact that mobile and social have had on retail. And so all of our solutions are enabled not only on the web, but in email, in call centers, in retail store environments. So one of the things that I think I really want to speak to is why personalization matters, why retailers should be concerned about it, and why it's an important topic today. if you think about the way you interact with an online retailer and the way that that's different than it was even 5 years ago, what happens today is retailer X sends you an email, it comes in your inbox when you're eating lunch, you maybe look at the offer, you say, that's interesting, maybe you click through to their website, now you get distracted and you close your browser, you're out on the weekend with your family, you visit their retail store, you see something again that's interesting, but kids are distracting you, and so you go about your day, and now you're back at the office, and now you click back into their website, maybe you check their page on Facebook. You're interacting with these brands in so many different ways. When we started our batteries.com business in 1999, that was it. You came to batteries.com. Today, businesses like Randy's have the ability to talk to their customer in so many different avenues. And so for a company like ours who tries to help make sense of all those interactions on behalf of our retail partners, the ability to capture that information across channel is really, really critical. And I'll speak to that in a second. One of the other reasons that personalization really matters is the leaders in the market have really pushed the bar here. So Amazon.com 10 years ago introduced product recommendations and personalized pages based on your browsing behavior, and that really started to shape how retail would look and continues to do so. Services like Pandora or Facebook or LinkedIn that make suggestions about people you may know or people you should connect with. These are becoming commonplace features in our daily web lives. And so as we look to not only leverage additional services, but also look to partner and shop with retailers that we want to support, these type of capabilities become critical and they become a necessary part of the experience. And then third, and probably most important why personalization matters, it moves the needle. If you look at some statistics that we publish, personalization can really have a dramatic increase on a retailer's bottom line. Revenue increases of anywhere from 10 to 20%, conversion rate increases of 20 to 40%. I believe Amazon was recently quoted as saying almost 30% of their overall business was generated through product recommendations and personalization. The reality is, all of us, when we are interacting with a retailer, we're trying to humanize that experience. I don't think there's anybody in the room who hasn't had the experience of being upsold. That tends to happen more when you're in a human interaction. And so companies like ours are trying to allow their retail partners to have that capability. Companies like Randy's are trying to bring that capability to their consumer. Really all designed around the idea that if I can provide you a product that you have interest in, you're more likely to buy that product, as opposed to me suggesting something that maybe doesn't apply. So as we kind of think about how to help retailers win in this game of social and personalization, there's a couple things that we really think are critical. One is to listen to the customer. And this takes a lot of different forms, but for us, we have a tool we call a guided selling tool, where we ask customers what they're interested in, and shockingly, we listen and take action on that data. It sounds really simple, but you'd be amazed how many retailers don't do that. I'm a frequent traveler, and I continue to get promotions from my favorite airline for hot deals out of New York City. That's great that I can fly to LA from New York for $99, but I leave out of Indianapolis. Companies and retailers need to listen to their customers and then take action on that data. The second thing we do is we proactively put products in front of consumers that we believe they want to purchase. So as I mentioned earlier, we're observing all of these clicks that are happening across channels. So whether you're interacting with a brand on their website, on their mobile application or mobile site, whether you're interacting with an email that they sent you, one of the things that iGo Digital does is we capture all those clicks and we make sense of those clicks. We then in turn show products that would be most interesting to that individual. That's a really important point, because as retailers like Randy try to figure out how to scale and how to sell more products, it's a really hard thing to make sure that you're managing 50,000 SKUs and putting the right one in front of the right customer at the right time. This happens really well in the offline world, right? You walk into your favorite store and you start talking about the thing that you're looking for, and if that sales associate is well educated, they're pretty good at leading you to the right product. In the online world, we're sort of left to figure that out on our own, and what we're trying to do is close that gap and make it more of a suggestive sale. The other piece I'd mention on here is we're really leveraging the social data that goes along with these clicks. So what we've discovered is that people tend to shop in aggregate crowd ways, and so we're leveraging what we call the wisdom of the crowd. So if I'm looking at a blue sweater, what did other people that looked at that blue sweater ultimately buy? Or what did they ultimately click on after looking at that blue sweater? And so some of this social data is now also coming into the mix for personalizing the experience. And then finally, we really work with retailers to help them understand how to leverage the multi-channel world. So whether that's the advent of mobile, whether that's the advent of social, being on Facebook or Twitter, to our system, these are all clicks, but really to the brand, they're all interactions. And so how do you make sense of these interactions? If I'm interacting with the website and I add a product to my shopping cart and I get distracted and I leave, how can we leverage that via email to proactively remarket to you with that product? If I look at your brand on Facebook and then I click through Facebook to your website, but I see a disconnect, we use email to retarget to you. So a lot of different ways to integrate the channels, but consumers are actively using these channels to view and communicate. Really smart brands are leveraging that. All of this is really backed up by measure and optimizing. I know Randy and his group do a ton of this, and Matt as well. This is really critical in e-commerce today. There's so much data available to retailers and to us as service providers. How to make sense of it and is really kind of the critical question. So the way that we handle that at iGo Digital is through a lot of A/B testing. We test everything, and we let the data kind of support what works. And so it might seem to make sense that if somebody abandoned a shopping cart, then we should go back to them with a discount because maybe they didn't like the price. But only A/B testing will indicate whether that's really the way to approach it. And then the ability for these brands to be able to control the personalization process. So one of the risks of turning over something that was traditionally done manually to a computer is that the black box is now running the show. And so we try to alleviate that by giving our customers lots of control. They can turn dials, they can tune the system. We'll do those things on their behalf. But this really kind of brings together the idea that the software is making things happen, and then the intelligence of the organization is layering on top. And then we have a saying at iGo Digital that you can't fix what you can't measure, and so reporting and analytics is really important, but actionable analytics. There's so much data that retailers collect now. When I was at batteries.com, it was ridiculous. We had we had more data than we knew what to do with. The advent of social makes that even harder. And so companies like ours are trying to figure out how to take all that data and make it actionable, make it insightful, and make it so you can quickly understand what are the couple things you can do to drive your business today. Thank you.